Elena Leonova. She's the Chief Product Officer at Spryker, and her background includes significant contributions at digital commerce platforms Magento and BigCommerce, where she led transformative product strategies and global expansion. So welcome, Elena.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me here. Really excited to spend this time with all the amazing women here on the call. So as we get started, I want you all,
Sorry, your slides are not up. It's you. Do you want your slides up?
yes, it should be.
Is it up for everyone else? Am I the only one that?
I see the slides.
Okay, great. It's just me.
All right. All right, everybody. So
I don't see the slides.
you don't?
I don't. I see you. You're beautiful.
Thank you so much. But the slides also should be here. Does anybody else see the slides?
Is it the leading against the
Yes.
green? Yes,
Yes.
I can see it. Maybe at the top, in the Zoom meeting, in the top, you should click on Elena Leonova's screen, then you can see the slides.
I see the slide now. Thank you. Anusha.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. All right. All right. So let's get started then. I want all of you, even though you don't have your videos on, but I want you to go on exercise with me. So close your eyes for a moment and imagine your dream career, the impact that you want to make, the success you want to achieve. And now open your eyes and start thinking about what if I told you that getting to there wouldn't be just taking the hard work, but also resilience against lots of stereotypes and barriers that you would need to overcome. Here in the chat, we can use emojis, and I want all of you to raise your hands. Especially so everybody who has a big dream for the career, and everybody who thinks that they want to achieve great things in their career. So raise your hands or use any emojis that you can in the chat here. Awesome. I see lots of hands being raised. How many of you, despite that ambition, also feel uncertain, unsure if you actually would be able to achieve that? Worried that maybe you're not going to be judged equally. Maybe against all the equal opportunities, there are going to be some stereotypes or some certain things that are going to get in the way. Raise your hands again. Yeah, it seems that there are lots of us. And if you ever felt that way, you're definitely not alone. And I felt that way as well. As many other women in technology and just in general in the workspace at all. A couple of years ago, I started mentoring product managers because I obviously have the career in product management. And when I started doing that, I thought that the biggest question that people are going to be coming to me with is going to be product strategy or how to level up in their product careers and their skills as it relates to product. However, what I actually discovered that every time when there was a woman on a call with me, every single time, the question immediately went into how to deal with stereotypes, how to deal with biases, how to actually navigate sometimes male-dominated field and rooms, but just in general, how to actually feel equal, because it still feels to many of us that the opportunities are not equal there. And then that's actually when I realized that if you want to propel in your career, it's not going to be just about the hard skills. It's not going to be just about product management skills or engineering skills that you need to be on par with. You also need to invest a lot in your resilience and your ability to overcome the barriers. So for some of you who don't know me, just a quick introduction to help you understand the path that I had to go through. So at the moment, I am a Chief Product Officer at a global digital commerce platform. And it took me about 12 years to get to this level, while originally being a person who started their career in Ukraine as a business analyst, and then step by step moving to the US, growing in their career. And the path that I had to go on in order to get there was not as easy. There were multiple moments when seemed like it's going to be impossible to get to where I wanted, because as many of you, I also wanted to succeed in my career. I wanted to get to the level where I felt I belonged to. But there were so many different moments when I thought there was something wrong with me, something that was quite unique to how I was behaving and how I was, I don't know, making decisions that would not allow me to get there. And what I wanted to share with you today, that if you ever feel that way, and whatever the challenges that you might be actually up against as you growing in your career, first of all, you're not alone. But I also wanted to give you some examples of the things that I went through to understand that everybody's journey is like that. And therefore, when you're going to be coming across some kind of a situation, have some strategies on how you're going to deal with it. So the first story that I wanted to share with you is that I already mentioned that I was starting my career in Ukraine. That's where I'm from. And I was working for a relatively smaller company, not necessarily known even in Ukraine, as a business analyst. And until one moment when my company at the all hands announced that this company is being acquired by eBay. And eBay is a really big known brand everywhere in the world, as well, including Ukraine. And I thought that my dream is coming, my dream is just kind of realizing here in a moment. I'm actually going to be working for a large, big American company, and I have a chance to succeed. And only until a couple of days later, I find out that everybody who has a role of business analyst, as I was, is going to be let go, because at eBay, they didn't have business analysts in product and tech orgs. They only had product managers. And I was not one of them. I never had that experience. And in that moment, I realized that my kind of dream from working for an American company to now actually being without a job just changed just within a couple of days. And in the evening, when I went home, obviously from crying and being really upset about this whole thing and feeling like I don't have any other choice, something came to me and I realized that I actually want to take a chance. I want to go and create an opportunity for myself where there was nobody was actually offering me a job. So I found the courage somehow in me to walk into the eBay leadership team and tell them that I actually been reading some product management books. It just happened to be by accident that that's exactly what was happening there. And I felt like that is going to give me enough motivation and background in order to actually position myself as a product manager, but also take our entire team, which was 6 people, 6 of us, to become product managers as well. And to my surprise, I know that kind of courage somehow inspired or gave confidence to the leadership team to give me that chance. And that's how I started my product management career 12 years ago, and I kept growing from there. And the lesson here is that sometimes you would feel like there's no other choice and you don't have the opportunities in order to grow to where you want to be. But my advice to you would be, think about that and always take a chance, create an opportunity for yourself, speak up and be brave and try to see if something is going to be possible there. And the worst thing that can happen is that you're going to hear no, but at least you tried. At least you actually tried to achieve something that you thought you really wanted, and everything else was seemed to be really difficult. Another moment that was really defining for my career was then many years after that moment when I already started my product career, I got a chance, an offer from eBay at that time to move now to the US where I live now. And I was so excited because now I was growing as a product leader. I had my product management team, and now I was moving to the US, and you can only imagine how powerful that felt. So I arrived and I already had the team that I was leading in Ukraine. Now I also got a couple of direct reports here in the US. And I was relatively young in my career, but I was so driven to go after this chance. And only in a couple of days, I started realizing that every time when I would suggest something, I would be ignored. Sometimes people will start laughing, because of the accent that was not obviously native American accent. Sometimes I would suggest sit down with and like an employee who was a little bit more experienced than I am, kind of older than I am, but I had this role already where I had to, I know, talk about like, development and the next steps. And I would see the skepticism in their eyes because for them it felt like because I was much younger, there would be no necessarily kind of new skills or new advice that I'll provide to them. And I remember really well that for a long time, I was thinking about those type of experience and thinking about what is actually wrong with me. Do I do something right? Does it mean that I need to all of a sudden get older? Or do I need to all of a sudden I don't read or gain more technical knowledge because I already have this position, but I'm not being taken serious. What can I do? And it's likely something is wrong with me. Until I realized that ultimately, those type of experiences are going to be happening all the time. And the thing is, whether you actually let others define your self-worth and start questioning yourself, or do you actually take control over it and continue showing up and continue driving the things that you're passionate about and that you feel like you actually have control over, regardless of all those biases and stereotypes that you're going to be facing. And then later on, there was another moment in my career that was also quite interesting. Now I was much older, and I was working for another company. And at that company, we were looking for low-cost development office, basically to offshore our development from the US to another country. And Ukraine came up as one of the top countries where we wanted to do it. So it was me and another person from my team with whom we went to Ukraine to talk to different partners who can help us open up an office in Ukraine. So I went into kind of, first of all, it was my country, kind of where I felt really comfortable. So we go to have those conversations with partners. And now I'm already older, kind of, so the age was not supposed to be a thing because somewhere back in my mind, I thought like the moment when I'll start, like when I'll look older, now I'm gonna be finally taken seriously. So now I had all of the credentials that I thought I needed. I was older, I lived in the US, my accent was not as prominent as it was before, plus I was also from Ukraine, so everything was supposed to be fine. But in those conversations, all of those kind of two members from the potential partner team, they were always referring their questions and comments to my colleague because they just, for whatever reason, assumed that because he was a man, he is likely going to be in charge of the decision that we're making, even though both of us were constantly redirecting the conversation that I'm here, the decision maker, who's going to be making decision whether we're going to go with this partner or not. And this type of experience kept on going. So at dinner, they were referring to him for all of the comments, all of the questions, how to make a deal. Their choice of activities was kind of also mostly centered around him. Only until after, when we had this conversation, I realized that, so we walked away. I was thinking about, I was thinking to myself, what is wrong with me this time? What did I do wrong? Why I was not taken serious? Why this conversation was not kind of even addressed to me? And that's kind of when I realized that that type of experience is going to be happening regardless. You don't have to be older. You don't have to be to have another title. That type of experience and those type of stereotypes are going to be happening regardless whether you want it or not. Obviously, I had decided to go with another partner, and I know we found somebody for whom I know the gender bias was not an issue, but still, and that was a really telling moment for me to decide that I'm not gonna let anybody to define my self-worth in that moment. And when I was thinking about those examples of kind of some certain scenarios or certain situations that happened in my life, especially when I've heard those other women who came to me for advice asking me about it, I realized that kind of every single one of us have those questions. And the most important thing that we can do for ourselves is to start questioning ourselves, is to own who we are, is to continue showing up regardless of anything that happens in our way. And the first kind of there's like 3 takeaways that I wanted to share with you that I hope you would be able to take to heart and continue making decisions kind of with that on a daily basis. First of all, early on in your career, the earlier you start, the better. Define your values. Know exactly what are you going to be comfortable with and what not. And don't let anybody cross those boundaries. If you're a woman, younger woman, you don't need to be older. If you, again, a woman that works in a male-dominated field, decide for yourself. Are you going to be trying to be more kind of aggressive, how you would imagine the men are going to behave? Or are you going to be yourself? And either or is fine, but you just need to know what is comfortable for you. So then you know who you're going to be. And then don't let anybody tell you who you're supposed to be. Another really important advice, and I wish I knew this early on in my career, is in addition to all of the other kind of skills that you can invest in, strengthen your emotional intelligence, build up your resilience, understand most importantly, what kind of situations can trigger you. Is it when somebody raises a voice? Is it when people start talking about, I know, somebody else, I know, really direct and maybe a little bit more rude? Is it when people is it when you're being overlooked, how it actually happened to me? Is it when is it going to be around your accent if you have one, or whatever that might be? Understand what triggers you and work with somebody, I know, a coach or somebody else who's going to help you build resilience, so then you're basically not being triggered by it. Because the moment when those situations are going to be happening, and they will be happening for sure, you need to have the courage inside of you to not be triggered by it. And that is going to help you achieve better things in your career for sure. And lastly, your soft skills are your superpower for sure. The technical skills are going to open the doors for you because you need to have them. Whatever your technical skills are, whatever your hard skills are, you have to invest in them. But your soft skills is exactly what is going to be helping you get promoted and achieve that great career that you want to have. And most of the time, you have to invest in public speaking. You have to know how to present yourselves, how to speak up, how to become visible and heard. You also need to understand how to influence and negotiate different situations, because the majority of the workforce, the higher you are, is going to be all about influence and negotiations. And those are also the skills that you can learn. And that is going to help, together with strengthening your resilience and your emotional triggers, help you achieve greater things. And those are the things that I highly recommend everybody to focus on early in the career and then use them on a daily basis. And people always say that it's really lonely at the top. And hopefully once you as you continue growing in your career, you're going to achieve that level that you want to, whatever that is going to be for you. But just know that as a woman, it actually feels even lonelier at the top because there are not that many of us, because many of us actually stop early on because of all those biases and stereotypes, because of how we expected to behave and how we sometimes choose to behave according to the situation. But just know that all of us have a lot of amazing skills. We don't have to act like men. We don't have to be somebody else who we're not are. Just know that you are there not by accident. You're here for a reason, and your success also not going to be an accident. If you're going to continue showing up, if you're going to continue building your resilience, if you're going to continue investing in your soft skills that are going to allow you to speak up when you have to speak up, because you will have to do it, you will definitely achieve that level of success that you want to. And the most important thing that I want to say is that as you achieve that level, just remember that there can be other women who are just rising, and they might need to have the same level of support that you achieve, that you had as you were climbing that ladder. So turn around and help another woman to get to that level that she deserves, but maybe doesn't have the courage to do it by herself. And with that, thank you so much. I love connecting with others. So if there's going to be anything that is interesting to you or you would like to talk about, I would love that. And here you can find my information to connect with me.